How's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7 out and about on a Monday after, well, you know, not a bad game. Good for the neutral, that's what they used to say, wasn't it? A classic game. It's sort of apt on the anniversary today of the 4-4 against Arsenal that we're talking about, a 4-4 draw at St James's Park and a comeback for Newcastle United in thrown into that as well. So yeah, rather nice sort of symmetry and everything to that. However, I think all of us after the Aston Villa game going into the weekend's game against Luton at home, we're probably thinking 3 points at home banking, and that's no disrespect to Luton, because you know what Luton are doing. The fairy tale story of Luton is absolutely fantastic. I think everybody, neutral wise, you know, is sort of egging them on and wanting them to stay up. So fingers crossed that they will do that. I'm sure the 4 points of us this season will help greatly towards that. You know, nothing but the best wishes for them with regards to the rest of the season. But again, you would think at home, size of the club, etc, 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 Newcastle United would have been the favourites going into that game, and we certainly would have been expecting the points. Luton, I think, again, it's one of them ones where it's just a free hit for them, and they played positive attacking football, and they've, you know, they've struck well. That you cannot deny them that, you know, a point was probably a fair reflection of the game overall. So yeah, well done to them, congratulations to them. But obviously today's video is about Newcastle United. Again, going into the game, injuries. I'm sick of talking about fucking injuries, but it is the one story, it is the one news thing that has dominated the agenda for Newcastle United all bastard season. And I've said it before in the last video, I'll say it again. Let's hope with the change in the medical setup, you know, getting rid of somebody, bringing somebody else in, that, you know, things start to improve really quickly, because it's just been unacceptable. It's been absolutely and utterly unacceptable this season, the amount of injuries. We haven't got the biggest squad in the world, so we can't afford to be running really with many injuries at all. So the fact that we're consistently double figures for injuries isn't great. But I'm not taking anything at all away from Luton, because like I touched upon before, they were great value for their point. They played some good stuff, they went for it. So it's nothing, you know, no knock against Luton, but the injuries are having a massive effect for Newcastle United, there's no doubt about it. You know, you look at this season and last season, and you're just sort of sitting there and wondering, what if we could have actually 2 strikers fit, rather than them just seem to be doing shift work on injuries. Because it just seems to me that one player gets back, one striker gets back, and then the other one goes off injured. You know, we've had players like Joe Willock out for far too long. We're missing influential, unreplaceable players like Joe Linton out. Missed his physicality, no doubt, for me in this game, his presence and everything else that he offers. We missed so sorely, so badly. And yeah, there's probably a large part of it that's arguing that, you know, having to play the same three midfielders all of the time, and you literally cannot physically do it at the levels of the intensity that Newcastle United operate in, and our tactics and our pressing system. It's just impossible. You know, 3 games in a week, with the way that Eddie likes to play, it just takes too much out of them. And I thought, again, we looked leggy, we looked a little bit lethargic, we looked a little bit disjointed. And yeah, Luton took opportunities, they took the initiative, and yeah, we were probably lucky in the end to be able to get the point. But like I say, I think a point on reflection is probably the correct result, but gutting for us, because, you know, if we would have got a victory to follow up on the back of the Villa game, it'd been absolutely fantastic. But again, trying to look on both sides of the argument, 4 points from Villa away and Luton at home is a decent return. Villa, a fantastic team this season, doing great things under Unai Emery. Nobody expected us to get anything at all there. And I've just put a piece up today about Bruno talking about it, and he said the game against Luton probably pretty much summed up our season, in all honesty. Just far too inconsistent, And even during the game, there were spells when we were all right, but then there were spells when we were absolutely and utterly atrocious. And again, you're talking about fatigue and tiredness, and you're seeing like a performance. Dan Burn isn't the quickest, but Dan Burn, who's been asked to play 3 games in a week, it's just too much. And Dan Burn's put some man of the match performances in recently, and I don't want to highlight just certain individual players, but there was no doubt that they would target in the left back area. And a critique would probably be that we didn't make the changes that we should have earlier, and really took it to, because even at 4-4 we had opportunities. We could have won at 5-4, we could have won it 6-4. It was an absolute mental type of game. A record amount of goals this weekend in the Premier League as well. But probably just a little bit too slow on the changes. Again, Livramento, why he didn't start, I don't know. And it's no knock on Dan Burn, because like I said, Dan Burn is an important part of the squad. He was fantastic last season. He's played some great games this season, but he cannot play every single game all of the time. Not in this high intensity team, and certainly not playing out of position. He's a centre back playing left back. You've got another full back on the bench who, yes, is a right back and can play the left hand side absolutely fine. And again, when Livramento was playing before, he was like man of the match. He was putting great performances in. He was able to get up and down, and all during the game, and can defend. So I just don't really see what the problem is, what the issue is in playing the lad at left back and giving him some more minutes and giving him some more time. So hopefully that's been food for thought for Eddie Howe and the coaches, that look, Dan Burn is definitely part of the rest of the season, definitely. But perhaps you could play Livramento at left back, and then when you get into the second half and our midfielders who are having to play every single game because we've literally got no other options, when they are becoming tired, take one of them off and then drop 5 at the back. Play 3 centre backs, 2 wing backs. So bring Dan Burn on for a Lewis Miley, if you will, or Sean Longstaff, if you will, or Bruno if he's tiring, and then drop back to 5 at the back and try to see games out that we are winning. So we're not giving stuff away because we're absolutely out for the count, towards the end of games. So perhaps, again, like I say, it's food for thought. It's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to do better over the next couple of games. But we'll be doing that without Isak. He obviously missed this game, another one of the many injured quality players that we are missing at the moment. But news today coming out that Isak will miss the next 2 games. So that's Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. He will miss. He won't be included for this next couple of weeks, which is gutting. It could be for longer. He has just said it's at least the next 2 games he will miss. So that is an absolute yet another blow. And you've just got Callum Wilson, who didn't have his best games, coming back. He's been injured, he's been missing a while, looked a little bit rusty, lacking a little bit of match sharpness. That will come, no doubt about it. He'll get his goals, but he hasn't scored now since back end of October. So that'll maybe win a little bit onto his mind, and we need our strikers fit and firing. So Wilson comes back into the fray for the Nottingham Forest game, and then we're just going to cross our fingers that the Isak injury isn't for too long. But this is a repetitive, constant issue with this injury, and it's something that I think the club, towards the end of the season, when we know where our destiny sort of lies, needs to send him away, needs to get the operations done, needs the 6 to 8 weeks recovery period for the operation, so that he is back fully fit and firing for next season, so we don't have this problem again where we are missing him for so much. Because 15 goals this season, he's an absolute beast of a striker, but he's no good if you're constantly in the medics room, if you're constantly getting treatment. So it's about finding the solutions. It's about getting the operation booked in, because it's going to need an operation to sort this problem out, because it keeps happening all the time. You can't just keep managing it by giving them injections and just kicking the ball into the fucking long grass. You can't get away with it. It's going to have to happen. So get the operation done towards the latter part of this season, get him sorted, get him fit and firing back for next season, when hopefully it's going to be a lot better for Newcastle United, with more players back, with some I am expecting some big recruitment over the over the summer months and stuff, and then fingers crossed a good season next season, because this season, like I say, it could still be an absolutely brilliant season. I think Eddie Howe's right in what he was saying and about not writing this campaign off. There's plenty to play for. There's the FA Cup, a favourable draw. Yes, it's away, but it's against Blackburn. You would fancy us against that. Your ball's deep and into the FA Cup, so fingers crossed on that. And there's still European competition to be able to fight for, to play for. But we just have to start turning up for 90 minutes, not just playing for 20-minute spells, 40-minute spells, or having to go all gung-ho just because you're 4-2 down at home. So we need a level of consistency. And again, we've got a nice week before the next game. Fingers crossed the players will be rested, relaxed up, and they'll have time out on the training pitch to be able to put things wrong. I still think one of the major issues for us at the moment is the makeup of the central midfield. I think there's all much of a muchness type players. We're missing their physicality, the energetic performance, that athleticism from the likes of a Joe Lytton. He's a one-off player for us. We don't have anybody who's got that physical approach to dominate in the middle of the park when he is not there. And then when he isn't there, you're asking Bruno to do a slightly different job. And you've got to think, Bruno, 1 goal this season in the league. He's been talking about his form. He's happy with it. He's got the 6 assists. He's got the 1 goal. He's doing well. He's doing good stuff. But he's having to take on extra responsibilities. He's after looking after the midfield area a little bit more. He's having to drop a little bit deeper. And we all know that Bruno is best when he's making those runs into the box. He's getting the shots away and stuff. I've no doubt he'll score more goals between now and the end of the season. But again, we've not helped him as a club because he's having to do a job as opposed to playing his favourite sort of, attacking midfield type role. So yeah, it's just disappointing, but Bruno still had an absolutely utterly fantastic season for Newcastle United, and like I say, plenty of assists as well, all good stuff. But yeah, the 4-4, it goes in the history books. It'll be up there with the sort of Arsenal 4-4s, high scoring, crazy game. The penalty decision, I didn't think so at the time, but it is what it is. You sort of were expecting these things with referees and stuff like that this season. But like I say, I'm not taking anything away from Luton. They deserved a point out of this game. So yeah, it is what it is, hasn't it? We take a point, we take it on the chin, and we move on to Nottingham Forest. Now, they schooled us at home. Hopefully the players are looking for a little bit of revenge. Fingers crossed about that. It's a shame, again, Isak isn't fit. He had a great game, didn't he, last season? It is not going to be easy down against Nottingham Forest. But again, if the Aston Villa style team turns up as opposed to the Luton type mentality, then fingers crossed we will get the points on the board and exact a little bit of revenge and set the record books straight. But yeah, again, nothing against Nottingham Forest, but it gives a little bit of extra banter, a little bit extra in the match, an extra ingredient, extra flavour in this one. But we need the points. We need to start racking up some away victories. We need to start keeping some more clean sheets. We need to go back to the shithousing from previous times. And like I say, hopefully with the lads rested up, Miggy's performance, everything else like that, it just steps up and we have a better base to be able to work on, and we can get the victory. Hopefully Callum Wilson gets a couple of goals, takes the monkey off his back, and has got back a little bit more of his sharpness, because I'm sure that nobody wanted him to play 45 minutes. I think he was probably expected to maybe play 15-20 minutes during the game, but again, injuries strike. Fingers crossed Gordon is okay. He's been pictured around the Metro Centre taking photographs with some young Newcastle United fans there. He had no boot on his foot, so that is positive. Hopefully it is just a bit of a sprain. A couple of days, he'll be absolutely fine. Tie your laces though. As if you've seen the picture, walking around, laces untied. I'm sitting there going, oh please, knowing our luck, you'll end up falling over and breaking something, because we've had absolutely no luck. But one major point I was going to finish on today from the weekend's game: Harvey Barnes finally back. It's just not got going for him since his transfer in the summer. And it was the old cliche, it was a bit like a new signing when he came on. And what a fantastic goal. There's no doubt. You think if he was fit, how many goals he would have scored, what he would have been able to offer us, and you could kick yourself. But yeah, Harvey Barnes is back, so that will hopefully take some of the pressure off Anthony Gordon, so we don't have to play him every single game. We can rest him up sometimes. We can maybe play him up top occasionally, because it's a position he can play very, very well. He's proved that for Newcastle United. He's proved that for England. So yeah, Harvey Barnes, it's fantastic that he is back. And speaking about England, I'll touch on that on the end. I don't think it's a game that I will go to be honest. I'm not the greatest England supporter, to be honest. I'll watch it when it gets to the finals and that sort of thing. But there's something about a Gareth Southgate team that just bores the absolute fucking arse off me. But they are coming, England that is, to Tyneside in June on a Monday night on the 3rd, I think it is. 8:15 kick-off against Bosnia. So fantastic for the likes of Callum Wilson and obviously Kieran Trippier and stuff like that to represent your country at your home stadium is great. It's been far too long, and I just think there's a bit of a disconnect with people from the north and the England football team. It's something that I think they needed to have put right for a long time, but they just continue to try and push games down to Wembley, which I understand they've got bills to pay and stadiums to pay off and stuff like that, and I get that, but I just think there's been a very much big disconnect between the north of England and the England football team. But hopefully they are trying to put that right. They are trying to put the record straight. But yeah, it's not for me. Gareth Southgate is not for me. He's another one. My feeling with England is they qualify easily, when they're playing the sort of nothing style games. But when they get to the pressure cooker moments, the big teams step up, and we just don't. In a fancy waistcoat, no. Might do something. I mean, some people, again, the media, he's like a media darling, isn't he, Gareth Southgate? But it doesn't do anything for me. I think it's all smoke and mirrors. I still don't think he should have got the job, Southgate, in the first place. I don't think managing Middlesbrough and doing something in the under-21s qualifies you to be an international manager, and I don't think he's a winner, and I don't think he's brave enough to make the decisions when you need to be brave and bold. And I think with the talented pool of players that he's got available, I think he should have done a heck of a lot more. Yes, we've got the finals and we've got the latter stages of competitions, but we've won fuck all. As a nation, we've won fuck all. But yeah, it'll be great to see, St James's Park all done up for international match. It'll be great for the club. It's great for continued exposure all around the world. It might make a few quid, but England, no. I've said all along, I'd rather Newcastle United win the League Cup, or any cup for that matter, than England win the World Cup. That's just me. For many people it will be different, but that's just how I feel about the England situation. Great at St James's Park, fantastic, but probably put a Newcastle United match on, I will watch it anywhere. I'd watch us playing on fucking Mars, if that's what it would mean or take. But England, it's just not the same for me. So yeah, let me know what you think down below about England back at St James's Park, back on Tyneside. Old fanny face Gareth Southgate. He's going to be leading England out at Newcastle. I hope he is never anywhere near the Newcastle United manager's job, because not for me. Not for me at all. I think Eddie's doing a fantastic job. It's been a difficult set of circumstances, and I think everybody is 100% behind him, despite what talk shite are coming out with and saying. Everybody is behind Eddie Howe. We're all realists. We know our football. We know the situation. We know the injury list. We know that he's been having to do this job this season with one hand tied behind his back, with a schedule which has been absolutely and utterly fucking ridiculous. And thanks to the PSR, the FFP rules, one hand tied behind your back, probably one leg tied up somewhere as well. It has been a difficult assignment this season, no doubt about it, but everybody is 1,000,000% behind Eddie Howe. It was great to see him back, feeling a bit better at the weekend. So I will leave it there. We'll be back doing a preview later on in the week for the Nottingham Forest game. And in the meantime, take care, keep it tuned, subscribe to Magpie 24/7, hit the like button, and I will speak to you later.